Welcome back to the Artificial DM. This is actually the part 2 story to RPG Tales and Zflocco's collaboration. I messed up. I read the wrong story, because I'm an idiot. But anyway, let's get into the story from Loopy 118. My friend that manipulates everything. If you haven't heard part 1, be sure to click this link right here. It will take you to RPG Tales. Although I'm sure you probably have by this point. OMG, thanks for the support, you all. I read most of the comments you all had posted, and I have come to answer your questions, concerns, and continue the story. So, let's get started. Why didn't I say no? A lot of this has to do with the naivety of my determination to not ruin the fun for people. When I first heard about the character, I thought the whole backstory was interesting, and the character seemed like it would be fun to have in the campaign. I was very wrong. By the way, my not saying no became such an issue that my friend made me a post-it note to put on my DM screen that said, "Say no to Ira's player." So this became quite an issue. And overall, this guy's manipulative. He would even pull nonsense like this outside of the campaign, to the point where I was becoming physically hurt because of his antics. It was nothing serious. He didn't abuse me, but honestly, he's a complete jerk, and this is a more personal story for another time. So I did eventually crack down on him, but not before stuff got worse. How is he with other players? Terrible. He steals the spotlight from them, and it hurts the storytelling on my part. His character is so chaotic, when it should be evil, since he's a chromatic dragon instead of a metallic. Learning more about D&D later on reveals a lot to you. That he has this aura of, I'm the main character. Unfortunately, he became the group leader, and so he leads the party everywhere. So he basically railroads the campaign as the player. I'm not sure how that has happened, or if anyone else has had this. But yes, as the player, he railroads the campaign. Whenever the party would defeat the encounter I had set up for that session, each city in the country had a specific encounter, which is plot specific. He would have the party, immediately after, travel to the next city. He wouldn't stop to talk to NPCs or look around the town. Nope. He for some reason had this finish the main story so you can do post-game type mentality, like when people play RPG video games. And you can't do that in D&D, so yeah, I have no clue. This also becomes a type of issue when he starts DMing, and he railroads the party constantly. He also does this super funny quirky thing, where if someone at the table in real life bugs him, his character, Ira, will punch that person's character. So much fun. So now to the continuation of the story. The party talks a bit, and the player, I'll nickname him Aaron, turns to me and says, Ira knows Amaya is a half-elf. I'm like, what? My best friend playing the half-elf is just as taken aback as I am. And we get extremely confused and asked him how he would even know that. He gave us some excuse that from his keen senses or whatever, and since he was in mercenary group, he would know this. Today, I cannot remember if we said that he does not know that she's a half-elf, but my friend is still upset that his character would even attempt to reveal something like that to the party, because well, that's metagaming. But it's like, did your character forget all his memories, as I said? Or does he remember everything? He continues to use this trope and idea that sometimes his character is this way, and sometimes he's the exact opposite. So after the party has all met, they soon encounter a water elemental, extremely nerfed as to not TPK, and defeat it. Immediately after, Ira has the party travel to the next town over, Mex, the capital. On the way there, the party has to stop and make camp, so they take watch shifts. The first 2 shifts go fine, until it gets to the 3rd shift. Amaya, half-elf cleric, rolls very low on her perception, and this causes the party to get surprised and attacked by about 3 raiders. Ira rolls first in the initiative, of course, and asks to go last in the order. He doesn't ask to take the hold action. My fault for not saying that he has to do that and have a specific thing to react to, but he should have known to do that as he is experienced, and waits for everyone else to take their actions. Small insertion. An issue that came up was how well he rolled his dice. I can say that I believed he has fudged dice rolls in front of me, but for some reason, they got swept under or I didn't want to fight in the middle of a session. He usually never rolls lower than about a natural 12 for important rolls, like fighting or saves. For his stats, he also had no stat below a 10, so he was already an unbalanced character. Just a side note, as I can specifically recall seeing him roll a 7 and him telling me it was a 17. So, I eventually tested his dice to see if it was weighted, and it wasn't weighted as much as the other dice. Very standard. Now everyone goes through their turns trying to defend the camp, and this wasn't like people with magic. They were people with masks, and 2 had daggers, and the other had a bow. But when it came to Ira's character, he straight up murdered 2 of the people. Not a simple try and reason with them, see who they are. No, he killed 2 of the gang members. The party captured one of them, a female human, and Ira, no joke, says,
"Be my servant, or I will kill you."
This is a female human. She was already a slave beforehand and had run away. She's like 17, and this kid is telling her she has to serve him. She denies the servitude, but agrees to go along, and that's where I was forced to create my DMPC, Piper. So the party now has a new addition and keeps moving along until they encounter a traveling cart that is heading towards them. Ira and the Aarakocra rogue, Eris, immediately want to rob the cart. Eris's backstory. Eris is a bit of a mischievous bird. She was kicked out of the monk monastery for stealing a precious idol that was held in the school. She's very sneaky and small too, which makes it good for her to blend into crowds and hide away quickly. For Eris, I understand her wanting to do this. She's a bit of a troubled child. But for Ira, he legit murdered a gang of thieves not even a day ago, and now wants to rob a cart that they don't know anything about. I eventually explain that the cart is manned at the front by a middle-aged dwarf man, who explains to the party that he is traveling away from the capital with his family so that they can get away from the busy life. So that convinces the party to stop Eris and Ira from stealing from this family. So win for me. The party gets to the front gates of the capital, which has a wall fortification around the whole border of the city. Amaya uses her disguise kit to hide her face a bit more and elongate her ears slightly to make it seem that she is more of an elf. They are able to enter into the town with no issue or looks from the guards. The town is split into 2 classes, a lower class and an upper class. Ira actually turns to Amaya and tells her,
"You should probably stay in the tavern here in the lower class area while we go to the upper class area."
She complies, sadly. But later out of the game, she tells me how she thought that was stupid that Ira split up the party, and for what reason? None. His excuse was that she could get caught, but that isn't fair to your other party members, as that hinders their ability to play the actual game. And he's one to talk, because once again, his character looks more human than she does. It's very ridiculous. Overall, this session had some pretty bad spots, but it isn't the worst of what happened. Wait until next time, when I explain how he conned me into giving him an overpowered sword and a magical glove. It gets so much worse. Alright guys, hopefully I got this uploaded pretty darn quickly. Once again, I'm really sorry to RPG Tales and Zflocco, I completely botched that. And hopefully, you all are able to enjoy the tale. Like I said at the beginning, if you haven't watched part 1, be sure to do so. If you haven't watched part 3, click this link here. That's going to be it for today. And until next time, hope you feel inspired.